What workforce trends are impacting the accounting and finance landscape across Australia and New Zealand in 2026? Today we are joined by Leanne Allen, CFO from Sagle Constructions Group, and Melanie Morris, founder, head bookkeeper and principal trainer from Training and Beyond, to break down what is shaping hiring decisions, career choices and workforce planning across the accounting and finance market. Looking at the rest of 2026 and into next year, employers are still facing pressure to make the right hiring and workforce decisions. It's still difficult to find good people, but what skills do we need in 2026? Supported by the data from Australia and New Zealand's leading employment report, our guest industry experts will look at what workforce priorities are leading the charge for accounting and finance teams, what skills are becoming more important in 2026, what trends will shape Australian finance through 2026 and into 2027, and are businesses moving quickly enough on AI or taking the right level of caution? Hello and welcome to People and Frog Recruitment's 2026 Accounting and Finance Market Analysis. I am Jacqui Fine, a Senior Consultant here in our Sydney office. What trends are shaping the accounting and finance market in 2026? Based on the latest data from our 2026 Employment and Salary Trends Report, what we have seen is a very strong start to the year, but general hiring and candidate sentiment has started to soften. This is a direct result of the global uncertainty, but because that works across both employer and candidate, there is still a supply and demand dynamic that means that it's still hard to find good people. An increase in candidate hesitancy means people are more inclined to accept a counter offer, or where they would have accepted a role ticking 7 out of the 10 boxes, it's now more likely 9 out of 10. What is distinctly different in 2026 versus previous years in accounting is employers are looking for a more hybrid profile. So technical skills, commercial acumen, and automation skills have become a focus. The types of roles we see most in demand at a clerical level is payroll, in qualified accounting, senior accountant, and finance managers. Most teams are running very leanly as CFOs look to tackle the rising cost pressures, which is leading more to burnout. And finance teams are reporting overload with requests for more and more data, which is something to keep an eye on. To break down what's actually happening in the market across both Australia and New Zealand, we are joined today by Leanne Allen, CFO of Sagle Constructions Group, and Melanie Morris, founder, head bookkeeper and principal trainer from Training and Beyond. Thank you both for joining us today.
Thank you.
Welcome. I'll start first by looking with the Australian market. First with you, Leanne. At the end of 2025, as per our report, professionals in the accounting and finance space were stating that they expected the market to be steady and more predictable. For you and your team, how would you describe the first half of 2026? And does it match to what professionals were predicting at the tail end of last year?
Yes, thank you so much. We've actually seen really strong business growth for our, obviously I'm in the construction industry and we're based in Adelaide. And so for us, we've really seen strong business growth and a strong pipeline coming down the road as well. So assessing our future resource needs has meant that we need to assess our project budgets and in fact increase our resources. So in order for us to capitalise and take on all of those that wonderful pipeline and being able to successfully achieve them, we need to increase our resources. And it's not just about picking anyone, it's about picking the right resources. So at Sagle Constructions, the DNA, the culture of our people is very important to us. So while we're out there assessing candidates, we're not only looking for skill sets, technical, but we're also looking at about how that person's going to fit within our team as well, because we don't want to lose our what we call our DNA. We are starting to see that candidate pools tightening at the moment, and where we even more so. I mean, everyone said, people are hard to come by. We're starting to see candidate pools tightening, and even more so than it was at the end of 2025. I think the pools were a little bit larger. So because of that, your businesses, private businesses are heavily relying on referrals as much as coming through the agencies. There's still that as well, but a lot of it, and a little bit of that's Adelaide driven as well. It's very relationship built, and almost about, connections of connections. And that's not only just in the finance space, but broader in the construction field as well.
Wonderful. Thank you. Our report shows that accounting and finance teams are being asked to support a broader business agenda in 2026. What has been the biggest shift you have experienced or seen in what businesses are needing from their accountants or their finance teams?
Yeah, thanks. I mean, it goes without saying that finance teams are expected to comment and work with a lot more than just your debits and credits nowadays. We've moved to a world of analysts, and we've moved to a world of commentary on that analysis as well. And I think where I've seen sort of a bit of a shift lately is yes, the analysis, yes, the commentary, but almost as well, where that commentary is now linking back to a risk assessment. So it is... Finance is being asked to deliver a much broader package of information, and alludes to one of the comments you said in your earlier statement about more requests coming on the finance team. So really I'm seeing that connectivity piece, linking that analysis commentary to risk. What does that mean for the business? What does that give us in a broader lens?
Wonderful. 74% of teams are prioritising automation and systems improvement, but only 45% are investing in upskilling their current team. What skills or capabilities do you think are becoming most important for the accounting and finance professionals to stay ahead in 2026?
Yeah, I think that interpreting things is a really strong skill set to have. We might be faced with a set of facts, but how does that interpret for your business, and how, making that decision, what is that going to mean? So that broader skill set, as I mentioned before, the linking through with the risk assessment. I think technology is great. AI is fantastic. AI isn't going to solve everything, so that's still a requirement for human factor. There's still a requirement for that analysis to be broken down and linked back to what does that mean for your business. So AI isn't going to solve a process that is broken. It's not going to fix a process. AI is going to improve a process that already exists. And AI should start with, for those that perhaps haven't embraced it as much as we would have thought, with something that's verifiable, something that's meaningful to your business that can actually ensure is accurate.
Thank you. How do you think the role of accounting and finance teams have evolved over the last 6 months? And additionally, how do you have expectations around what businesses are needing from their finance teams changed along with that?
Yeah, I think we work in an environment now where things change quickly. Geopolitical, economic environment, and how that impacts your business. So finance has to be able to perform at a fast pace. It needs to be risk adverse. We've obviously got increasing cost pressures, so we need to keep an eye obviously on the costs, how strong are your controls around that. What reassurances can you report to board around mitigations, around it's that really broad breadth. And where I'm seeing the change is that speed in which it's happening. I think, one would have never thought, COVID would happen. One would have never thought, we would have been in an environment with all the rate rises over the last couple of years. But things move quickly now. I think in this day and age, having a finance team that is robust enough to deal with the flexibilities of the external environment. All of a sudden we had a war to deal with, and that was affecting shipping, and people had to change how their containers were coming to Australia. So those quick moving, what mitigation steps did we have in place? What did we anticipate? We're having to anticipate a lot more changes these days than in the past, and that flexibility and robustness is where a finance team is really going to add value.
Thank you. I guess moving on and excluding AI, if you were to look at ahead at the rest of the year, 2026 and into 2027, what trends do you think will most likely impact the accounting and finance landscape?
I think we need to really assess the pool of candidates we have when we're hiring. So what is what is your business needs, and what is that candidate's willingness to adapt to that business? So different businesses, different needs, different working environments. Sometimes people don't want to work in a fast-paced environment. I come from the property sector. It's a very fast-paced business. It's a very high activity. Certainly a construction business, it is very, very exciting, but it's also fast-paced. That's not for everyone. So having someone with the right skills is one thing, but also the right mindset, that's what they want and that's where they want to fit in. I think a broader point for a candidate is going to be their systems knowledge. How well do they adapt to systems? How well do they adapt to change? I think, most businesses would go through various steps of changes these days. The candidate will be able to move with those changes and really being sensitive to the environment around them.
Thank you for those insights, Leanne. I really appreciate it. I'd like to shift gears slightly now and look across the ditch to New Zealand, and I'll bring in our second guest for today's update, Melanie Morris, founder, head bookkeeper and principal trainer from Training and Beyond. Thank you, Melanie, for joining us today.
Kia ora.
I guess for you and your team, how would you describe the first half of 2026? Does it match what professionals were predicting about the market becoming more stable?
Well, that was a very interesting one to reflect on, because at the end of 2025, the mood was cautious optimism. People generally expected 2026 to be steady and predictable, and then of course the first half of the year has not been. With the geopolitical environment globally, it's been so volatile, as we know, and that's flowed straight into the New Zealand market as far as increased costs of doing business, increased costs of importing and manufacturing, and uncertainty around fuel. So all of that's landed here on top of an already cost of living crisis, which has been interesting. So as far as our profession's concerned, it's been genuinely challenging. We are learning in real time and having to react and try and be proactive with our clients. So we haven't really had a playbook for this one, and our clients are expecting us to give them guidance. So I think for me, the clearest example is that the end of financial year this year, which we have in March, it was really difficult. It was challenging because the clients were trying to manage their cash flow. They were chasing money from their own customers to pay their suppliers, and that put pressure on everything else. So to answer your question directly, after all of that, no, it hasn't matched what people were predicting, but in all fairness, when the report was published, we couldn't predict what was coming.
Wonderful, thank you. Building on from that, what has been the biggest shift you've seen in what businesses are needing from their finance teams?
Yes, the way I think about it is that we have been here before. This is the same technology adoption curve that we saw at the outset of cloud computing and cloud accounting back in 2006. So we generally have the innovators, the tech enthusiasts, and the risk takers who try things first. Then we have the early adopters, who are the visionaries who embrace it. Then the early majority, and then the late majority, and finally the laggards. So with AI, the innovators and early adopters have well and truly come on board. I believe we're now entering into the early majority, and that's exactly where all the work is happening right at the moment. So the general population can feel that if they're not embracing the AI, they'll be maybe left behind. They may be thinking, how do I use it? What do I do? And where do I even start to upskill? So the biggest shift I'm seeing alongside cash flow is that businesses want their accountants and finance teams to lead the way on this. Our job is to translate, to help clients understand how they can leverage the tools that are out there right now to lift productivity, and also to help them identify the risks and help them with their strategy. So that's the real change. I guess the expectation is now is that we are guides and strategists, not just number crunchers.
Exactly. Thank you. As we said before, there was only 45% investing in upskilling. What skills or capabilities do you think are becoming the most important for accounting and finance professionals to stay ahead in 2026?
Are quite different, aren't they, from the olden days? Yep. Probably.
I agree.
It really is changing fast. So it's changing almost as fast as the technology itself. For me, the most important capability right now is the human one. The relational and empathetic ability to work with clients. If we use AI well, it does free up our time from the compliance, so we can be more relational and strategic with our clients. So we need people in the industry, I believe, who are creative, critical thinkers, problem solvers, and above all, curious about what's going on. The other capability I'd put right up there is verification. So there's so much value in verification. AI can offer us a huge amount, but it only knows what it's being told. So it's very easy to put a question into a chat and get an answer back that looks reasonable, that's confident, and even agrees with you and encourages you to go further. But at the end of the day, it still has to be verified. You still need to know your debits and credits. And you still need to understand tax law, and you still need to be able to read, review, and verify what AI produces. So even the tools themselves tell you that AI can make mistakes, and please double check the answers.
Exactly. What about how expectations around what businesses are needing from their finance teams, how they've changed? Has the role of accounting and finance teams evolved over the last 6 months?
Yes, quite quickly. I 100% agree with that. I mean, traditionally, the work that we would do would be sort of more historic. And what had happened, we were looking backwards. Essentially now what's happening is that we have to work in real time and increasingly look forwards. So clients just don't want to know what happened last quarter or last year. They want to know what to do next. So that's the shape of the team. We need to have analytical people in our team. We need to know how that real-time advisory relationship is going to work. So then we can help our clients understand other apps and platforms that may help them run their business better and then be set up for success.
Thank you. I'm going to ask you the same question that I asked Leanne. I guess looking ahead to the remainder of this year and into 2027, what trends do you expect will mostly shape the accounting and finance landscape?
In New Zealand, we have an election year. So depending on who's elected, things may change a lot. How everyday Kiwis manage their cost of living and what legislation and compliance changes may happen. So there's a little bit of uncertainty about what we will be navigating. I think the job market is shifting a lot. So we see daily over here that there's daily liquidations, closures, redundancies, changing skill sets. So what we wanted or needed, last year or the year before is probably not what we need next year and moving forward. So really that perception that AI is doing all the work, I shouldn't be charged as much type thing, that's something that's going to be changing. So we need to think about value pricing. So although someone might be able to do the same amount of work productivity-wise in 10 minutes because they've got assistance with tools, they're still actually providing 20 years experience. They are providing knowledge, they've been there, done that, got the t-shirt. So we need to consider how we're actually going to start charging for services throughout the trades and professions.
Thank you. Before we wrap up, I'd like to bring you both back in for a broader view across both markets, looking at AI and its impact on the accounting and finance space. I'll start with you first this time, Melanie. 40% of employers stated that they expect AI to affect over a quarter of their processes in 2026. Do you think businesses in the accounting and finance space are moving fast enough with the AI, moving too slowly, or taking the right level of caution? And how do you think AI is starting to shift the roles and expectations within the teams?
Yeah, it's a great question. I honestly don't think it's really about speed, because AI is developing at light speed. So it's probably not possible for a team or a human to truly keep up with it. I think the right approach for me personally is that to be deliberate and mindful about how we embrace it, take the time to understand it, and to stay curious above all. And that's where the leadership matters. The teams need leadership, and in the business, they need to know why, how, and when they're going to use AI. It's such a big playground out there. And just make sure they're focused, being very clear on why they're doing that, what outcome they actually want from it, and of course, to verify the results that they're getting from it. You still need to have the knowledge and experience to work with the AI.
Thank you. And what about over in Australia, Leanne? Are you seeing similar patterns in how businesses are approaching AI, and how is it beginning to shift expectations within the accounting and finance teams?
Yes, I agree a bit with Melanie as well, that there's an avalanche of information out there, and one can't keep up with it all. So I really think for each business, it is specific to that business how they're going to get the most benefit out of it, and how they'll get, what's appropriate for them. So for us here, we, part of our 2030 strategic plan, one of our goals is under the banner of systems and system improvements, which of course AI plays a heavy focus on. And the way we are approaching it is to actually engage with an expert as we all learn and get upskilled, and we're doing that. We're learning on the job. So we've still got the business that we're running. We've still got projects to deliver. And if you just wait for people to somehow just pick it up as we go, we will be behind the 8 ball. So we're actually engaging with experts who can come in and give us some guidance as to the best way where we should be focusing for our business. And it's also a really important point when we're hiring new candidates. So when we're going, certainly if it's a more junior role, and generally the person is younger and they've just come out of uni, they're very AI focused, and they're teaching us. I mean, we've got a young gentleman in our office that I've been learning lots from, and I have these great ideas, but I don't quite know how to convert it to AI, but he does. So, working in partnership. So really, learning from those that have just studied the topics, relying on your experts, and focusing on what's important to your business, because each business will be different. There's no one size fits all.
Thank you. A big thank you to both of you for your time today and for giving us some incredible insights into this market. If anyone today is wanting to reach out and get in touch with either Leanne Allen and Sagle Construction Group, or Melanie Morris from Training and Beyond, you can visit the comments below for the information. Thank you both once again. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.
Just a reminder that all the insights shared today are based off our 2026 Employment and Salary Trends Report. If you'd like a deeper dive into salaries, benefits and workplace trends across the market, you can request a copy today by scanning the QR code on screen now, or clicking the link below in the comments. Lastly, whether you're looking to grow your career or build your team with the right talent, the People to People Group can help. As an award-winning recruitment agency, we operate across Australia with specialist teams in every major market. And across the ditch in New Zealand, we have proudly recruited for over 24 years through Frog Recruitment, with offices in both Auckland and Wellington. Contact details are on screen now, or please see the link in the comments to reach out to one of your teams today. And if you're looking for help with your recruitment here in Sydney, please reach out to myself, Jacqui Fine, a senior consultant at People to People in the Sydney office. The details in the comments below. And I thank you very much for joining us today for our 2026 Accounting and Finance Market Update.